Hi guys, so today I wanted to do a video about my labor and delivery because I know I always enjoy watching those for other people. So I'm just going to go ahead and get started. Landon was born on September 22nd, 2012, and I was actually induced. I was showing signs of pregnancy-induced hypertension, so basically I had high blood pressure. I was showing signs of protein in my urine, and I was retaining a lot of water. I had a lot of swelling towards the end. It was this like hot in the summer, but I did have a lot of swelling. So, but I was actually 5 days overdue at that point. So they just decided to go ahead and induce me at that point. So me and my husband Jordan went into the hospital at about I think around 8 or 8:30 in the morning, and we had to wait about an hour, I think, for the OB to show up. So it was about 9:30 when I actually got induced. They used Cervidil first, so I had that inserted around 9:30, and then I was hooked up to the contraction and heart rate monitor after that. So for about an hour, I think. So I was starting to have a couple contractions. not really. They were showing up on MAR just like slightly. So and then after that, they said it could take up to 4 to 6 hours to start working, or it could even not work at all. So within 24 hours, I could have like Pitocin if it did start working. So they said we were free to go from the hospital and just come back whenever labor started. So we do live about 20-25 minutes away from the hospital, so we decided that we were going to spend that night in the hospital whether I was in labor or not, just in case it did start, because we didn't want to have to drive. So we decided to leave the hospital, and it was about 10:30 or 11, I think, by the time we left the hospital, and decided to go grab lunch. So we went and grabbed some lunch and just took it back to my husband's parents' house and had lunch there. Meanwhile, while my husband was getting lunch, I was starting to experience contractions. They were starting to get more painful and quite close together from the start. So I did start timing them while he was getting our lunch, and they were every 2 to 3 minutes apart, but not painful yet, I guess. Well, I mean, a little painful, but you know what I mean. Not what I thought they should be for 2 to 3 minutes apart. So we just, we went back to his parents' house, and I was timing my contractions the entire time. So after we finished eating lunch, they were starting to get fairly painful. So and like at that point, I was breathing through them and whatnot. So it had been maybe, I think we left at like 11, so maybe like an hour and a half to 2 hours since we left the hospital at that point. And they told me it would take at least 4 hours to start working, so I didn't want to go to the hospital at that point because I wasn't sure if what I was feeling was just, if I was just being a wimp or not. So I was breathing through them, and my brother-in-law started to get a little freaked out and was like, you should probably go back to the hospital now, because I was in a fair amount of pain. And Jordan was like, yeah, okay, let's go back to the hospital. So we did go back to the hospital. We got to the hospital around 1:30. So it was, at that point, it was 4 hours after I was induced, I guess. So we came back, went up to the maternity ward, and I was breathing through the contractions. They're like, oh, okay, you're back already. We're like, yeah. So they're like, well, are you in labor? And I was like, yeah, I'm having them every, about 2 minutes now, and they're getting painful. So they're like, okay, we'll go ahead and set you up in a labor room. And so they set me up in the labor room, and I don't think they believed me because it had been so soon. They left me in the room for an hour. They didn't check me, they didn't do anything. They kind of put me in the labor room and they were like, oh, you can have a shower if you want, blah blah blah. And I was like, no, all I can concentrate on right now is my contractions. So at that point I actually had to get Jordan to go find the nurse because I was in so much pain that I needed something at that point. So they hooked me up to the monitor, and the nurse was like, oh, they're every 2 minutes. I was like, yep, that's what I told you, but don't think they believed me. So at that point, I was like, I need something. Can I have something for the pain? And they were like, yep, but first we have to get the IV in you. And so I was like, okay. They tried for half an hour to get the IV in me. My hands were so cold. They couldn't find a vein in my hand. So they had to keep using warm compresses. And so one nurse tried 2 or 3 times, and then she finally had them. That was, I guess they're only allowed to try that many times, so she had to go get another nurse to come in, and then she tried once, and then she got it on the second time. So that I was trying not to get, you know, aggravated or something, but it, you know, when you're in that much pain, I just wanted something. So anyways, they did get the IV in me, and then they gave me the gas, which I loved. I didn't have an epidural or anything, just the gas. So immediately it started working for me. I mean, obviously with the gas you can still feel the contractions. It just takes the edge off and kind of makes you woozy. I don't know how what you would call that. But like, I basically had to keep my eyes closed the entire time because like when I would open it, like I couldn't focus properly. So, but no, it did work. My husband basically said he thought I was like sleeping the whole time, and he thought it was gonna be like the longest labor ever because it just looked like I was sleeping and nothing was happening. The only time I really said anything was to have water. So, but when they first gave me the gas, I was 4 centimeters dilated, so I wasn't like super far along or anything like that. And then, so I got the gas around 3 o'clock in the afternoon, so about an hour and a half after we got to the hospital. And then I don't remember much while I had the gas. Like, I could hear faint things like the nurse coming in every once in a while or whatever to check on me. And then I do remember my doctor showing up at one point, and I remember them talking about breaking my water, and I asked my husband after if they had to break my water or if my water just broke naturally. He says he doesn't really remember. He probably wasn't paying attention. But he thinks that that they did break my waters because they had like the hook thing that they go up and break it with. So he remembers seeing that. So he's pretty sure they had to break my water. At around 8 centimeters I was at that point. So then at about 5 o'clock, so 2 hours after I had the gas, started having the gas, the doctor came in and checked me, and I was 10 centimeters. And so he just kind of said, you know, within the next few contractions, since you're 10 centimeters, you're going to feel the urge to push, but just not quite yet, because there was like, my cervix or something just wasn't quite ready enough or something. I don't know. He just needed like a few more contractions or whatever for it to be fully ready to push. So he's like, but you know you're gonna feel the urges. So sure enough, the next contraction after that, I did feel the urge to push, and it's the most awkward, like, I don't know even how to describe it. It's just so awkward and unnatural to try and not push when your body is giving you the urge to push. It was so uncomfortable. And at that point, when it was ready to push, they did take away my gas, which I did freak out for a second because I didn't think that through when they first gave me the gas, that I wasn't allowed it while pushing. So I was a little scared at first of the pain, right, when they take away the gas. But it was not bad at all. Just, well, crowning, obviously. But, so they did take away the gas, and then it was time to push. I pushed for 40 minutes, and the Jordan wasn't holding my legs. He was up by my head, so there was 2 nurses that were holding my legs for me. And one nurse was there the entire time, the nurse that was on Jordan's side. But the other nurse kept leaving and getting stuff ready, I'm assuming. And so every time I had a contraction, I would be like, I have to push, because so she could get back and hold my leg, because I did try a couple times to hold my leg up, and I was just too, tired and stuff, right? And there was no one on that side to hold my leg up, so I couldn't get in like a good push if she wasn't there. So like one time, the other nurse like reached across me and tried to hold my leg up because she couldn't make it back in time. Another time, the doctor like leaned into me so I could put my foot on his shoulder so that I could push properly, because like, you have to push, you can't really wait. I just tried to give her like warning time so she could come back and help me, but she kept going off and doing other stuff, so I was a little bit frustrated at that point, because I wanted her to just stay with me so I could just focus on pushing, but that's okay, it worked out obviously. So and I did push for 40 minutes, and so Landon was born at 5:44 on September 22nd in the evening. So it was a fairly quick and smooth labor. For my first time, I was expecting, because I was in like about 4 hours of like labor. So since once I could tell the contractions were starting to get, bad to the point where I needed to go to the hospital, right? So about 4 hours, maybe 4.5-ish. So really good for my first time. And I found this out afterwards. My doctor was telling me, which I wish I would have known beforehand, that since I had pregnancy-induced hypertension, I guess the labor does like go quicker. So like, because the problem is the baby and your body just wants to get rid of the problem, right? That's what causes the hypertension. So I guess labors do go quickly when you have pregnancy-induced hypertension, which I didn't know that at the time, and I wish those nurses wouldn't have left me having known that about me, but all worked out, I guess. After Landon was born, the stitching, he did do an episiotomy, and then, because Landon had a big head, his head was like off the charts when he was born. It was like past the 100th percentile. So the nurses kept saying he had a big head, but I couldn't really tell. Anyways, so he did have a big head, so I did have an episiotomy, and then I ripped just a little tiny bit more than the episiotomy. So I did have stitches, and the stitching afterwards was almost as painful as like giving birth. I don't know, it was so painful. He was having a hard, because I didn't like rip that, like I didn't need that many stitches, but it took like 45 minutes to stitch me up. Like he was just having a hard time, and like I guess blood kept getting in the way, and I don't know, but it was horrible. It got like, I was in so much pain afterwards, and like all you want to do is concentrate on your baby at that point, right? And I was just in so much pain that the nurse actually offered me the gas again. Like obviously they have like numbing stuff that they put in you while you're stitching up, but like it got so bad that she offered me the gas again, but I said no because I didn't want to be all like bleh when I got like hold my baby and stuff, right? So I didn't take it, but it was very painful. I don't know, but and so I was kind of upset because with breastfeeding, they say to breastfeed within the first 45 minutes or hour or something like that after they're born, which I didn't get to do. It was like I don't know, between an hour and an hour and a half anyways that I first breastfed. So I was a little disappointed because I knew you were supposed to do it fairly quickly. But it was, it was okay. And the shower after labor was like the best thing ever. I went to go in the shower and I told Jordan, I was like, oh, I won't be very long, don't worry. I think I was fairly long because it just felt so good to like stand in the shower and just like wash wash everything off and the yuckiness and all that kind of stuff. But it felt really good. So yeah, so I think that's pretty much it for my labor and delivery. If you have any questions, let me know. And I will, Landon is down for a nap right now, but I was thinking I will introduce him to you guys at the either end or beginning of this video. I don't know where I'll put it. But yeah, once he's awake I'll film that so you guys will get to meet him. Okay, but if you guys have any questions, leave them for me. And if you're new, please subscribe. And we'll see you guys in my next video. Bye. Hi guys. So, Landon woke up from his nap. So this is Landon. Hey, look at the camera. Hey, look at the camera. Oh, nice. Yes, so, oh, and I also forgot to mention that his birth weight was 8 pounds 3 ounces and he was 21 inches long. So yeah, that's basically it. He's now, he'll be 6 months on March 22nd, so, and he's a big boy. He's pretty big. He's probably like, he's gonna go for 6 month shots in like a week and a half or something like that, but, or 2 weeks maybe. But he probably weighs like 19-ish pounds. And he's quite long too. I have no idea how much, like how long he is now at this point, but sorry, he's staring at our dog. He loves Bailey. Yeah, so this is Landon. And yeah, so I will talk to you guys in my next video. Thanks. Bye.